saśarīramidaṃ viśvaṃ na kiñciditi niścitam śuddhacinmātra ātmā ca tatkasminkalpanādhunā. I have known for certain that the body and this universe are unsubstantial, and I am pure consciousness alone, or the self that I am is pure consciousness alone. So, upon what can imaginations stand now? Chinmaya's commentary. Having awakened to the higher plane of consciousness, Janaka realizes his oneness with the infinite self, śuddhacinmātra. A man, when he wakes up, he not only understands that he is the waker, but this knowledge in him includes the total rejection of his illusory dream. Similarly, in the realization I am the self, the destruction of the illusory ego and the world are inherent and included. When thus one has realized in his knowledge of the rope the total non-existence of the illusory serpent, how can he thereafter imagine the vicious fangs of the murderous serpent pursuing him? All imaginations are possible only when the illusory snake is constantly perceived. Similarly, when we perceive the world, an endless dream of imagination can continuously maintain the experience of a sorrow-ridden world of stormy lusts and surging passions. Janaka here exclaims, in his newfound wisdom and spiritual awakening, upon what can imaginations stand? Unquote. When you realize that something which you held in esteem proved to be unreal, or an illusion, or an unreal or an illusion, will you still go after it or depend upon it? Imagine you had a friend. You thought he was a genuine person and you could rely upon him when you were in need. However, one day, when you truly needed him, you realized that he was not to be trusted at all, and his friendship was just a mere pretense to impress you or deceive you. Would you still depend upon that person or his friendship? In this verse, Ashtavakra says that the body and world are mere projections of the self, which is pure consciousness. When you realize it, will you still depend upon them for your happiness and spiritual well-being? Here, that deceiving friend is compared to the body and world, which are mere projections, illusory. It has to be understood that a mere reflection of the fact that the body and the world are projections and are not true will not help a spiritual aspirant. We are sure that we will discard a friend who has not stood by us. But regarding the illusory nature of the world, the body and the creation, how much ever we read or listen to discourses which continuously proclaim about the mere projection of body and creation on yourself, still it is not easy to discard both just by hearing about their illusory nature and just about thinking about what you have heard. An irreversible realization must come from within when one sees the world from the perspective of the self as a projection. When you see a film on screen, you know that it is unreal or a projection because you know how movies are made and you see it on the screen as other than you. But imagine if you are inside that film and you have no means to know that it is a film, then how difficult it will be for you to reach to the conclusion that you are other than the screen. According to Ashtavakra, right now we have all been inside a movie called Creation, which has been projected by God for a long time. We have no way to know that it is a movie, the creation is a movie, because we are so immersed in it, we are within it wholly. Somehow, only if you are able to come out of that movie called creation, then only you can see it other than you. We are so engrossed in creation and in our identity with our body, exactly like we are very much there in the screen, in movie, and with no means to know that you are just existing there, but you are other than the movie. Only when we detach from the creation, from our body identity, we can realize that it is all ephemeral and an apparent projection on the pure self that we really are. You will realize the truth of anything only when you become completely detached from it and see it as other than yourself. Like the judge who sits in the court, absolutely detached from both the sides, and only when he is so detached, he is equipped with the faculty, with the power to see who is true and who is not true. For the realization to happen in spiritual life, we have to go through a lot of prior preparation purification, and transformation. Like Acharya Chinmaya mentioned about the dream, we know that a dream is unreal and we cannot depend upon it because the dream ceases to exist when we wake up. Unless we wake up from the illusion or this made up reality, kalpana, till that time we really wake up, faith is your only support and scriptures are the only proof to ascertain what is real and what is unreal. There is a second assertion in this verse, which is about the nature of the self. It is described as having the state of pure consciousness, śuddhacinmātra. How can it be distinguished from the consciousness of the mind with which we are familiar? Although pure consciousness seems to be an abstract concept, it is not. We experience it in deep moments of silence, but we are not aware of it somehow. The difference between the two is that the former is subject to numerous modifications. Consciousness of mind is subject to numerous modification, coloring and states, whereas the later pure consciousness is completely free from them. In the former, you have the notion of you and others, whereas in the latter, you will not experience any duality. The mind is subject to the influence of the three gunas, whereas the self is not. From an experiential point of view, if you remove from your consciousness all the movements, thoughts, emotions, feelings, activities, memory, etc., if you completely empty your mind and its movements, you will find the pure consciousness or the stillness of the self. It is sesha, or what is left in the end when everything is dissolved. Hari Om Tat Sat.